and welcome to HANSA.newscast. I'm Janne Silden, and today I'm joined by Claus Ulrich Selbach, better known as Uli, Vice President Exhibitions at Hamburg Messe. Uli, it's great to have you here at my podcast.
Janne, thank you so much for having me.
The topic of today is the Maritime Security and Defense Conference taking place here in Hamburg on November 25th. It is a key event for the sector. And this year marks a clear repositioning as it is separating from the very well-known biannual SMM. What was the driver behind that move, Uli?
Well, definitely geopolitics. It is as it is, if you like it or not. But the threat has become more real for the alliance, NATO, for Europe, and then also for Germany. So we have to get our armed forces ready. We hope very much that deterrence will be sufficient to show we are strong enough. And so the political decisions were first the Zeitenwende with the first budget, and now we have what we call in German the Sondervermögen of some 100, I think in English is 500 billion euros to invest. In addition, the European has a European Defense Fund. So for the first time for many, many years, the money is there, but we are running out of time maybe to get this money into systems that help us to protect.
And is that why the message is procurement translated into English? Is that the focus?
Yeah, that's the focus, because SMM has always been an exhibition also for dual-use technologies. So I would say out of those 2,200 exhibitors from all around the world, around 200, 250 maybe, their products, their technologies and innovations don't only work in a cruise ship or in a container ship, but also in a submarine or a frigate. So SMM does not have weapon systems. No. But we have all the technology that is needed for a naval ship, for a Coast Guard ship. And that's why in the past also we have seen many purchases from governments, from navies and organizations to come to SMM. And now the demand is higher, and there are more companies exhibiting at SMM who actually have technology that is important for naval procurement.
Yeah.
And but many of them don't know how procurement, or in German Beschaffung, works. Who are the players? What programs are there actually? What are the procedures? What do we have to do to get into that procurement system? And there we want to help our customers, especially the small and medium-sized companies, also the startups. We want to facilitate to them to get a better understanding. And that's why we came up with the idea of the Maritime Security Defense Conference 2025. And we will definitely now play it every year. So it will be not only a biannual at SMM, but also now an annual event starting this year.
Yeah. So it's all in English. And how big is it? Can you tell me a bit about, the scale and how the setup is?
The thing is, it's quite exclusive. So we have, I would say, 150 seats in the International Maritime Museum. And it's half a day. It starts at noon with the reception. So it's also a lot about networking and having time to talk, get to know people. And we got 3 sessions. And it ends around 6:30 p.m. and then we have a networking event following also at the museum. So if you are there, you are a part of quite a small group. So the chances that you get that you have the opportunity to speak with important players of the industry, of the procurement of the German Navy, is very high. And we can see that it works because as of today, 120 places are sold. So I think we're going to be sold out in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's a great idea, and it must be very attractive. So at the conference, Who is speaking?
Well, we got really great speakers, and we have a very good, strong conference partner, who we are doing also the SMM doing MS&D. That's the DMI, Deutsches Maritimes Institut, German Maritime Institute.
Yeah.
So a big shout out to Carsten Schneider and his team, and they made a really strong program. So we have a keynote by retired Admiral Joachim Rühle, who was the former chief of staff at SHAPE. So that's the NATO perspective. And starting with the first panel is about European and NATO defense initiatives. And there we got people from the European Commission, from the European Defense Agency, from NATO, and from the EU Commission for Defense and Space. So that's the focus on NATO and Europe. That's the first part. And the second one starts with a keynote by Mr. Procurement himself of the German Armed Forces. That's Admiral Stawitzki, who is the National Armaments Director and Head of Department at the German Ministry of Defense. And following with the second panel with all the German programs. And there we have several speakers from the Bundeswehr Cyber Innovation Hub, Bundeswehr Planning Office, and others. And the third panel is about how actually does business cope with Bundeswehr, with the German Armed Forces. And there we got some people who are actually already being in part of this procurement system. Also someone from Stark Defense, that's a startup. We have someone from another startup who can share their experiences as a small, medium-sized company, how they got into the procurement process successfully. And then I think this is a best practice and it's important for everyone who wants to be in it. And then we have the nice networking. So I think it's good value for little money.
Yeah, it's impressive. I just have to ask, with all this, coming from abroad, and Germany can be Germany, to put it that way, is there any dress code?
Yeah. No ties required. It's business casual. Everyone is welcome. It should be easygoing. There will be some uniforms, definitely, but I will be like this, I assume. And as you know, since 2022, the shows are 24. I'm wearing sneakers, so sneakers are definitely also allowed. They are welcome.
Going back to Hamburg Messe, how do you define Hamburg Messe role today? Is it a facilitator, a dialogue platform, or both?
Both. I mean, we are not the ones who are producing or developing technology. We are trade show managers. But we definitely see SMM as the world's most important platform for the maritime industry. And we also like to be like as we have our slogan, driving the maritime transition, that we are drivers, that we are catalysts. And like, for example, it was in 2016 when we dedicated the full new hall just for green propulsion. We were the first there. Also, when it came to digitalization, we were like the first mover there. And also with this MS&D now, when you look at my colleagues in the world, it's also us who's driving that again. So we are trying to help the industry to find the right solutions, to facilitate also cooperation. So that's very important that, for example, let's say Korean shipyards do cooperation with European suppliers. Because only cooperation can bring us to some goals like the zero emission by 2050. And we have the discussion about various future fuels and propulsion systems. So what will be the one? And actually, we are convinced there will not be one solution. There will be several solutions that have to be probably combined. And as we don't have enough fuels for that, it is also important to use less of them. So also ship efficiency is a big topic, and that's where we, as the technology event worldwide, come into the game. Yeah,
you mentioned the rising geopolitical tension and also shifting alliances. What is the role of maritime exhibitions going forward?
Well, the thing is, one really nice thing is that during the pandemic, we thought, okay, our business model is really endangered. People will do much more this kind of online meeting that you and I do at the moment. But what we can see, we are back in force. So SMM24 was already sold out again, and we right now have 90% of the space for 26 sold, despite this additional Hall B8 that we are building. So I think all those platforms there are, and I appreciate my colleagues or competitors worldwide a lot. I know them quite long now, and they all found their place. And I think, well, there are two things. One is, and I like to quote a long-time exhibitor of SMM, is that when you spend 4 days at an SMM, you have the chance to see 2,200 companies and meet some 48,000 individuals. And you have the chance to participate in conferences which are on open stages. If it's about GMEC, environmental issues, the Maritime Future Summit, about digitalization, offshore dialogue, MS&D, Trade and Ship Owners Forum. So you have the chance to have in 4 days a combined knowledge share, best practice, worst practice share. And it saves you, I would say 4 days at SMM saves you about 4 months of traveling, because you can meet those people everywhere. Instead of spending time in the plane, you spend it better 4 days at SMM. It's also, I would say, something that helps the environment, having a show like this. And then again, it's making cooperation possible. People meet, talk, and come up with better solutions, and that's the role that we are playing.
Yeah.
And it's a fun part. I mean, as we are always in the first week of September, it's like homecoming after school holidays. Everyone is happy to see each other again. And so it's not only all the fixed appointments that you have, it's also all the people that you're actually meeting on the show floor or at the conferences, and that you're happy to see again. So it's also about fun.
It is. It is. I think the Maritime is a lot about friendships and people you know and networking, and it's really fun. Ollie, on a personal note, you grew up on a family vineyard along the Mosel.
Yes.
Quite a contrast to today's maritime stage. Does something from that background still shape how you work?
Oh yes, I would say definitely. Being grown up in a small, medium-sized winery and wine estate business, I think, and having started to sell quite early wine and work in this agricultural business, I'm full of entrepreneurial spirit. I mean, I really like to create new products. I really like. I'm a salesperson. I enjoy the networking, so I was on shows early, and also as my family estate, they sell about 2/3 of the production to abroad, a lot to the US and Asia, also on cruise ships and airlines. We always had international guests, so I was always from early days on. I liked the international approach. That's why I was an exchange student in the US. That's why I was an exchange student during my studies in Paris, and I spent like almost a year as a volunteer in India. So yes, it's actually, you know what, it's a perfect job, because I have always organized. I was always like what you call the Klassensprecher, the speaker of the class, and I organized all the school festivals. So actually, what I'm doing here is what I've always did, but now I get paid for it.
That's a really good deal, isn't it?
Yes.
So to close up, Ollie, I won't ask you for your favorite wine, but I will ask: is it rosé, white, or red wine? Which is your favorite?
It is my favorite. Is actually, I can tell you, it's definitely a wine from our family estate, and it's what they call a Cabinet Halbtrocken. It's a Riesling. Definitely, it's a Riesling. It's white. And I like the Mosel Cabinet because they have not much that much alcohol. So they have maybe 9%, 10%. So especially after dinner or on a warm evening, you can drink a whole bottle without being drunk. And so it's the light wines, not too dry, with some rest sugar, with like natural rest sugar in it, I like. So when people say, "Oh, I only drink dry wine, I only trocken," I say, "Well, come on. It's also about the fruit, you know. And sometimes dry wines, you taste the alcohol, but not the fruit anymore."
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Ulrich, for your time and insights. This was very much appreciated.
You're welcome.
Thanks for listening to HANSA.newscast. Subscribe now for more insights and stories from the world of shipping. And feel free to visit HANSA.news and sign up for the HANSA newsletter to stay up to date. And hey, see you at the next episode. Bye.